Autobahnen, motorways. In this visual podcast, we'll look at similarities and differences, facts and myths, plus points and negative points concerning mostly UK motorways and German Autobahnen. Auto in German is car. Bahn means way. So the words motorway and Autobahn are both modelled on the word for railway, in German Eisenbahn, and were first used around the late 20s and early 30s. I'm using a mixture of English and German. The main language is English, and I'll introduce some useful words and phrases in German. Like English-speaking expats in Germany, I tend to use German words in my normal conversation. Like all the videos on this channel, for the benefit of learners, the script is displayed on screen. Please check for subtitles in German, English, and eventually in other languages. This feature is available as an article on my aiden.co.uk site, as a video on my Audiovisual Magazine YouTube channel, and also as an audio-only podcast. The script is available to my students on a bilingual PDF file with vocab and exercises. Okay, so let's drive onto the motorway. Fahren wir auf die Autobahn. So what's the most obvious difference between Autobahnen and motorways? Well, of course, in the UK and Ireland, there is Linksfahren, driving on the left. In Germany, the rest of mainland Europe, and many parts of the world, including North America, there is Rechtsfahren, driving on the right. There's also a difference in the units of distance. On road signs in the UK and the US, distances are in miles, but in the rest of the world, units are in kilometres. Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, converted to the metric system in 2005. So let's have a look at some statistics, and I'll read some numbers in German just for practice. According to Statista.com, the German motorway system in 2017 was 12.996 kilometer. That's 12,996 kilometres, or 8,074 miles. The UK motorway network is 3,497 kilometre, 3,497, 2,173 miles. This information's from Wikipedia. New sections are always being added, so those figures will slowly increase. But it's clear that Germany's Autobahn network is much longer than the UK system. That's partly because Germany has a bigger land area, but also because, I suspect, some of Britain's dual carriageways and expressways would, if they were in Germany, be classed as motorways. The Austrian Autobahn network has a total length of 1,720 kilometer, 1,720 kilometers. Northern Ireland has 113 kilometer, and in the Republic 916. That's 113 and 916. Total 1,029 kilometers on the island of Ireland. There's another difference I've noticed between motorways in Germany and the UK, and that is that German Autobahnen are generally zweispurig, two-lane, but British motorways, at least the main motorways, are dreispurig, three-lane. Many people around the world think there is no speed limit on German motorways. Es gibt kein Tempolimit, but that's not entirely true. About 70% of the German motorway network has no speed limit. On the rest, there are permanent speed limits, for instance 130 kph, or temporary ones due to roadworks. It's certainly true that Germany is the only country in the world to have officially no upper speed limit. But even on those sections of the motorways, there is a Richtgeschwindigkeit, a guide speed of 130 km per hour, 130 km/h. If you're travelling above that speed and there's an accident, then your high speed will be taken into account in any investigation. Many people are in favour of introducing a general speed limit in Germany for safety and environmental reasons, but it hasn't happened, and I don't think it will. Mal sehen, we'll see. The UK speed limit is 70 miles per hour, or 112 km/h, kilometers per hour. In the Republic of Ireland, it's 120, or just under 75 miles per hour. It's a commonly heard myth that Hitler built the motorways in Germany, but in fact motorway construction was underway in the 1920s, around the same time as in Italy. The world's first motorway was the Autostrada dei Laghi, inaugurated on the 21st of September 1924 in Milan. It linked Milan to Varese. The oldest section of Autobahn in Germany is the Avus in the west of Berlin. Avus stands for Automobil Verkehrs- und Übungsstraße, Automobile Traffic and Practice Road. Later it became part of the motorway network, and you can drive on it today. It's part of the A115, the A115 in Berlin. The first motorway linking two cities was the Autobahn Köln-Bonn, begun in October 1928 and opened on the 6th of August 1932 by Oberbürgermeister Konrad Adenauer, who later became Chancellor after the war. So Hitler did not originate the motorways, but it's true he expanded them for military and propaganda purposes. The first motorway in Austria was begun shortly after the Anschluss in 1938. That's when Austria was joined on to Germany. It's now part of Austria's A1 Westautobahn. In 1945 there were 500 kilometers of Autobahn in Germany, and this was extended over the post-war years. In the US, the first interstate highways were built in 1956. The first UK motorway was the Preston Bypass in Lancashire, opened on the 5th of December 1958. It was first planned in the 1930s, and a delegation from Lancashire County Council travelled to Germany in 1938 to look at Autobahn construction there. The first longer section of motorway was the M1, opened on the 2nd of November 1959. In Northern Ireland, the M1 opened on the 10th of July 1962. The Republic of Ireland was a country without motorways until the opening of the Naas bypass on the 14th of October 1983. It's part of the M7 motorway. Whether motorway, Autobahn, interstate, Autoroute or Autostrada, these are the safest roads, despite the high speeds. But in Germany and Austria, there is one hazard you'll hear about a lot. It's the phenomenon of the Falschfahrer or Geisterfahrer, and that means, according to my definition, someone who is driving a car or other vehicle in the wrong direction along a motorway or dual carriageway. Every day and every night on German radio stations you'll hear the following warning, and as it's my ambition to read this out on German radio someday, here's my quick demo.
Achtung Autofahrer auf der A7 zwischen Hannover und Hildesheim in Richtung B1. Es kommt Ihnen ein Falschfahrer entgegen. Bitte äußerst rechts halten und nicht überholen. Wir melden, wenn die Gefahr vorbei ist. Ich wiederhole.
So, in English, that's attention car drivers on the A7. A Falschfahrer is heading towards you. Keep right, don't overtake. We will report when the danger has passed. Soon after, hopefully, you'll hear the Entwarnung, the all-clear announcement. Der Falschfahrer hat die Autobahn verlassen. The Falschfahrer has left the motorway. Every year, hundreds of these crazy drivers are reported. In Austria, they're called Geisterfahrer, ghost drivers, and the number of them is much, much higher than in Germany. There are even jokes about them. For instance, the Falschfahrer says to the policeman, Was heißt hier falsche Richtung? Sie wissen doch gar nicht, wo ich hin will. What do you mean, wrong direction? You don't know where I'm going. So why are so many people driving the wrong way along German and Austrian motorways? Well, I have a theory that might explain it. In Germany and Austria, motorways are accessed via a T-junction. Very often, the entrance and exit are practically side by side. So if it's dark, or if you're tired or not paying attention, it's much easier to drive the wrong way onto the motorway. On British motorways, there are mostly roundabouts at junctions, and it's much more difficult to drive onto the motorway in the wrong direction from a roundabout, Verkehrskreisel in German. In Österreich, in Austria, they've introduced a large yellow sign with a large hand, a no entry sign, and the words "Stop, Falsch." I haven't seen any signs like this on British motorways, but in the US I've seen signs on slip roads saying "wrong way." On German motorways, there are some other signs you won't see on UK motorways. For instance, Spurrillen, also Spurrinnen, depending on where you are in Germany. This means road grooves, when the wheels gradually wear down the road surface, forming long channels, which can be dangerous. In the UK, some motorway junctions are referred to as islands. For instance, Denton Island on the M60 motorway to the east of Manchester. It makes me think of palm trees and beaches. I think it's called island because there's a roundabout, but there's nothing inside the roundabout, just the motorway below it. In Germany, you'll see the word Autobahnkreuz, motorway cross or intersection. So I like to refer to Denton Island as Autobahnkreuz Manchester Ost. The M60, Manchester's Orbital Motorway, is 58.1 kilometres or 36.1 miles long. It's part of Euroroutes E20 and E22. At 188 kilometres or 117 miles, the M25, London's Orbital Motorway, was the longest orbital motorway in Europe, but it was overtaken by the Berliner Ring, which is 196 kilometres or 122 miles long. The longest orbital motorway in the world is the Beijing 6th Ring at 220 kilometres or 140 miles. On traffic reports for the M60 and the M25 in London, you'll hear the terms clockwise and anti-clockwise, which German visitors find very confusing. And here's another linguistic peculiarity. We have Ring Autobahn in German, so why can't we say Ring Motorway in English? We say Ring Road. No, we have to say Orbital Motorway. By the way, I co-wrote a book about Manchester's Orbital Motorway a few years ago, so I know a thing or two about the M60. On motorway signs in most countries across Europe, you'll see white lettering on a blue background. In the UK, the font that's used is Transport, designed by Jock Kinnear and Margaret Calvert. It was first used on the Preston bypass in 1958. In Germany, the DIN 1451 font, designed in the 1930s, is used. That's DIN 1451. Both fonts are designed to be easily readable from a distance and use both upper and lowercase letters, though it's interesting that French motorways have signs in uppercase only. There's another difference between UK motorways and those in mainland Europe. On UK motorways, at intervals you'll find service areas. In German, Raststätte, die Raststätte. That's an area with a petrol station, shops, restaurant, toilet facilities, and maybe a hotel. Across the channel, motorways don't just have services, you'll also find, at frequent intervals, a rest area, in German, Rastplatz, which has just a car park and maybe toilet facilities. If you stop at a services area in the UK for more than 2 hours, you'll have to pay. Charges were introduced in the UK in the 90s. I believe they're a bad idea. If you're on a long journey across the continent, maybe from Scotland to the south of Italy, you'll need to take breaks. 2 hours may not be long enough. On some parts of the motorway network in the UK, you have to drive 67 miles or 100 kilometres before you reach somewhere where you can stop. There are no rest areas, Rastplätze, on British motorways. The UK sign says, "Tiredness can kill, take a break." Müdigkeit kann tödlich sein. Machen Sie eine Pause, but where? On roads everywhere, sadly, people are killed and injured. One figure for people killed on UK motorways is 107 in 2018. That's according to government figures. So that's equivalent to one death for 32 kilometres of motorway. In Germany, for the same year, 424 people were killed. So that's one death for 30 kilometres of Autobahn. The accident rates in all parts of Europe are coming down with improved safety standards and better quality vehicles. But every road accident victim is one too many. So let's finish with a few safety tips for driving on motorways and other fast roads. First tip, Abstand halten, keep your distance. And here's a useful rule of thumb, eine Faustregel. Keep a distance of half what's on your speedometer. So if you're doing 100 kph, leave a gap of 50 meters, longer in wet weather of course. Here's another tip, im Voraus planen, plan in advance. If you're going on a long journey, plan your trip carefully. Listen for the traffic reports. You might need German for that. You'll hear in advance about Staus, Verkehrsstaus, traffic jams. You can use a sat-nav, but it might give you incorrect information, as happened to me one time near Düsseldorf. The sat-nav repeatedly directed me along a motorway that was closed. One more tip, Vorsicht beim Überholen. Take care when overtaking. When overtaking, remember to use your Rückspiegel, your mirror. And if you have freie Fahrt, if your way is clear, then blinken, that's indicate, and überholen, overtake. And I just wanted to mention my favourite motorway music, it's Autobahn by Kraftwerk. Do a search for it in YouTube. Wir fahren, fahren, fahren auf der Autobahn, goes the song. We drive, drive, drive on the motorway. It was inspired by the Beach Boys song, Fun, 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 which is about having fun in cars. I haven't mentioned speed cameras, toll motorways, vignettes, smart motorways, bridges, tunnels, and environmental issues. So maybe I'll do a follow-up feature sometime. But for now, I'll finish by saying, Fahren Sie vorausschauend und vorsichtig. Drive proactively and carefully. If you're interested in learning German, go to aiden.co.uk. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for notifications. So wherever you're travelling on the motorway, auf der Autobahn, kommen Sie gut nach Hause, get home safely, und auf Wiedersehen.